familiar with the concept of evolution?
This week on Talking About the Movie, Caesar may be gone, but the Planet of the Apes lives on. We take a look at the newest installment of the reboot franchise, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, this week on Talking About the Movies. And welcome to Talking About the Movies, where, of course, we take a look at the biggest new releases of the weekend. And happy Mother's Day, everybody. Let's all go take our mothers out to go see a bunch of apes beat the shit out of each other. I mean, it might be better than you might think it would be, but let's go ahead and take a look at the biggest new release this week, and that is, of course, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So when it comes to the Planet of the Apes movies, I haven't seen all of them. I'm kind of in the middle of getting ready to watch all of them for the Magical World of Disney post over on the website, but I've seen the basic ones. I've seen the original, which is a classic. I've seen the Tim Burton remake, which is awful. I have seen all of the reboot franchise, and I think they're all great films. The first one, of course, being one of the big surprises of the last couple of decades. It's just Andy Serkis that carries those movies all the way through, and the CG effects, and the visuals, they're amazing. And it's a shame that the Academy never gave Andy Serkis the proper respect he deserves and given him a nomination for that movie, those movies, because he deserves a nomination for them. But in terms of my favorite one of those films, I'd probably say Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, but I really like War for the Planet of the Apes a lot. I mean, it's tough to say. Like, it's kind of like me with Pulp Fiction and Jackie Brown's my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. It's really tough to put the final call on that because it always changes every couple of months. But we have this new film, which is the fourth installment of this new reboot franchise, and it takes place 300 years after the events of War for the Planet of the Apes, where you follow a young chimpanzee named Noah, played by Owen Teague, and he embarks on a journey alongside a human woman named May, played by Freya Allen, and they determine the future for apes and humans alike. Now, they brought in Wes Ball to direct this, who did another series of films that was actually kind of a surprise when they came out. That was the Maze Runner movies, and the first Maze Runner movie was great. The sequels, not so much. I mean, they weren't bad, but they were certainly a lot better than they could have been, especially that series in general, but they definitely didn't feel like they had the same power as the first movie did. But I still like those movies a lot, and I really wanted to see what this guy could do outside of the Maze Runner movies, and thus, here we are with the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which is, I think, a film that I think a lot of people were really looking forward to now. I think now the standard is that everyone looks at these movies and they assume that, okay, there's a good chance this is probably going to be really, really good, considering how well the last three movies did. But there was also kind of that feel like, how much longer is the goodwill for this going to last? I mean, how much more can they do with this? How much more can they add to this? And, is there going to be that franchise fatigue coming into play, especially with this being the fourth film and supposedly the beginning of a new series of films that they set up here at the end of the film? Well, I am happy to report that this film is really damn good. It's not as good as the original trilogy, but with these fourth installments of films that probably should end with three films, I've kind of come to expect that they're not going to be on the same level as the previous trilogy that they've already done, like the Toy Story movies. I get that the Toy Story 4 is not seen as a widely receptible film to most people, but I still really like that movie, even though it pales in comparison to what the trilogy did before then. Even recently, we had Kung Fu Panda 4, which is a good movie, a really good film, but not as up to the par that the original trilogy had already given us. And here, it's kind of the same thing here, but I would say of all the three films I mentioned, this would probably be the one I'd want to watch again, because I like the direction they're going with this. I like that they're setting up the idea that this is going to lead into the eventual Planet of the Apes, the original Planet of the Apes movie. And if that's the case, I think we're really seeing something here that could be really, really interesting to see what they do here with future films going forward, because I like these characters a lot. I like the adventures they go on. I like the stories they're setting up here. I think there's a lot here to admire about it. The visual effects, once again, are top-notch. These are like on the levels of something like the best CG effects of all time, with Avatar. I mean, that's how good these effects continue to be, and you can still see that they're putting a ton of effort into this to make these apes look more realistic than the humans are in here, and they're doing a very good job with it. I was also very curious about how they were going to do this without Andy Serkis as Caesar, but Owen Teague does a very good job of leading the role here as Noah. I think he's a very good character in general, and I like this actor a lot in this movie. I think the actors overall are very good here. Freya Allen, very good in the film. Kevin Durant is just amazing. Like, he's having a renaissance right now. I mean, he's one of those great character actors, but this year, You know, he was in Abigail, which I thought he was pretty good in. He does this, and then he's also going to be in the new Naked Gun movie. Like, his renaissance is slowly but surely growing, just like him and Paul Walter Hauser right now. It's good to be those two guys right now, because they're just getting so many movie roles right now. And there's a good reason why, because you could tell that Kevin Durant's having the time of his life playing this character in here. The action overall is very good. Like I said, the visuals are very good. For a film that's over 2.5 hours long, you really don't feel like you're sitting there for too long, though. It feels like a film that moves around at a good pace. Not to say that everything about it does work, like the pacing. There's a part where it kind of has that thing where they have a third act. You think the movie's going to start wrapping up, and then they add this extra third act, which does feel like it's tacked on a little bit, but it's never to the point where I say that it's something that could easily just be taken out of the film altogether. I got what they were trying to do. I got what they were trying to set up. And considering that this film is getting good reviews right now and good box office, I feel like they're going to be able to continue to expand the storyline going forward with another film in this series here. And really, I can't think of anything more I could say about this film that hasn't already been said already. I think it's a film that's really good. It's got a lot of great action, a lot of good characters, a lot of good heavy moments, a lot of good story-driven moments, a lot of good writing, a lot of good character development, visuals that are top-notch, little nitpicky things here and there, and it's definitely not on the same par as the original reboot trilogy, but I really like to see what they did. I really like to see what they did with a different person behind the camera, and I think Westfall has a lot of potential to do something more with these films going forward. I'm really looking forward to see what they do with these next couple of films that they're going to do. I really am curious to see where they're going to take this and how it's going to tie back into the 1968 movie. But, yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about this one. Like I said, pretty much everybody has pretty much said what I've already been thinking. So, I guess I'll have nothing more to say except to give this movie a good thumbs up. It's not on par with the original reboot trilogy, but it's good enough on its own, and I think it's a film that should have started the summer movie season off and not The Fall Guy. I like The Fall Guy a lot, but that's just not a movie that should start the summer movie season off. This is a movie that should start the summer movie season off on a high note, and it definitely delivers that. Like I said, thumbs up. Can't recommend this one enough. And speaking of the summer movie season, we will power through on that on the next episode by taking a look at John Krasinski's latest film, If, the film about imaginary friends with an all-star cast including Ryan Reynolds at the helm of it, and also Amy Winehouse, the Amy Winehouse biopic Back to Black, which has not gotten a lot of good reviews, but I'm still really curious and excited to see it because I just love the way that they got somebody who looks exactly like Amy Winehouse, and I like Amy Winehouse music a lot, so I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm hoping that the reviews are not as indicative of what the movie actually is, but we will find out when we come back here next week. But until then, thank you for watching, and if you want to see some other reviews I've done, like my review of The Fall Guy, check out the link on the next page. Check out some of the other reviews I've done, and thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next week. So until then, take care.